This week on Hot Rod TV, we're checking out a specialty shop devoted to the flawless recreation of Carroll Shelby's iconic Mustang.
I fell in love with Shelby's story whenever I was 14, 15 years old.
We'll take a look at their newest project, a 2012 Monster Mustang, codenamed Villain. Then it's over to the Hot Rod Power Tour to hit the road in one of CR's awesome G.T.500s.
It doesn't get any bigger than this.
And it's all happening now, right here on Hot Rod TV. We're in the heart of Ford country, Yukon, Oklahoma, checking out the Mustang Masters at Classic Recreations. These guys are devoted to the Shelby legacy, paying homage by building classic G.T.350 and G.T.500 Mustangs with a modern twist.
We are known for our vintage Shelby automobiles. These are licensed Shelby cars. We're the only builder in the world that can do this car. Each one of these cars starts as an original 67 or 68 Mustang Fastback, and we do all the fabrication, aesthetics, everything in-house here to turn out to this product here.
We're trying to do the interior, get it finalized up. We already got the modern transmission in. We probably fired up this afternoon.
Classic Recreations' entire business model centers on honoring the late Carroll Shelby's prodigious and iconic work.
And the passing of Carroll Shelby is definitely, in my opinion, one of the biggest losses in the vintage car world. I really looked up to him tremendously, and especially being, young and starting my own, business and doing something similar that he did.
He is an icon, and he will be missed. I mean, he's the one that set the foundation for all this to happen.
He's one of those legendary hot rodders that'll go down in history.
Carroll's definitely one of the finest performance names in the marketplace.
And to ensure these cars are a true testament to the Shelby name, the guys here at CR spare no expense when it comes to recreating a masterpiece.
Every piece of this car you're reviewing right now is inspected by Shelby and approved. So all the aesthetics, all the components, everything on the car has been approved by Shelby Automotive.
There's CR and Shelby in every single thing that moves in this company. Every person that works here in their step, there's a little bit of Carroll Shelby.
When these cars come back from metal fabrication, they come to our body shop. Here, we put on the Shelby aesthetics of the car. Plus, we also have some other body modifications we do as well. It's pretty extensive. We have welding, fabrication, body work.
Classic Recreations has produced some of the most amazing tribute G.T.350s and 500s in the market today. But they're also expanding their horizons and recently began a project on a 2012 Mustang, codenamed Villain. But before the team jumps in head first, Jason rounds up the guys to go over the plan.
We've always wanted to do a new Mustang. We've been given the opportunity to do this. We just got off the phone with Ford. They are partnering up with us on the CR Mustang.
While Ford will supply a great deal of the parts for this project, CR will be responsible for designing and fabricating a whole new body kit, including an updated hood, new bumpers, spoiler, and rockers.
I think it's good to put Classic Recreations out there on a new Mustang. Let's show people what we can do.
Everybody here is a fan of classic muscle, but, we have that desire to move into, modern technology.
What we want to do with this car is make it different than anything else out there.
When we come back, the Villain Mustang begins to take shape. Then Jason takes a break to join the ranks on the Hot Rod Power Tour. Stick around. We're hanging out in Yukon, Oklahoma at Classic Recreations, a shop known for their tireless devotion to Carroll Shelby's Mustang legacy.
I've always been a history buff with cars. In fact, I fell in love with Shelby's story whenever I was 14, 15 years old. As with any muscle car guy, we've always heard, Carroll Shelby.
Carroll Shelby created a brand so big that he's one of few individuals to have brought performance to the masses. And I mean, there's Vic Edelbrock and things like that. really significant in our industry, but Shelby, everybody knows his name. He's as big as Ford. And I'm not sure I can think of another individual who did that.
I look at his designs all the way from, 1965. I mean, you look at just everything that he's incorporated. There's a reason why it's still popular today in 2012. Using some of his design tactics, some of the things that he did, I incorporated every car that I build today. Today we're at the design studio where Corey's actually making the bucks for this car.
We're using the foam to actually build parts, so it's cheaper and easier to work with than it is Bondo or fiberglass or anything else.
After he's done with that, then we'll produce the parts for the vehicle.
The foam begins as a two-part liquid that, when dried, will expand to 18 times its original size. After constructing a rough template, the foam is used to create a mold for each of the new body panels.
The foam works real easy. Get it in the basic shape that you want it. Once you get it there, mud over it, start working it from there. What we got here is I poured this earlier and just kind of started carving away. It's nice and dry. You rub your hand across it and not a whole bunch of anything falls off. So what we're doing now is we're just kind of carving. Just want to go nice and slow so we don't have to repaint the rest of the car. Still really fat down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna basically cut it in half. And once I cut that in half, then I can smooth this back up to where it's not such a drastic body line.
As the body kit starts to take shape, the Ford racing components arrive back at the fabrication shop.
Just got our new Ford racing parts from Jesse Kershaw. Looks like we got interior pieces, engine parts, pretty much everything to build the new Villain. I'm really excited. This is the Cobra brake kit for the new Mustang. This is great. It's going to increase braking. Look at the size of those. These are the Ford Racing 19-inch track wheels. It's a black wheel. It's going to look great on the black Villain, especially when it's wrapped in BFG rubber. We've been lucky enough to partner with Ford Racing. We're trying to get 50 parts for the Villain Mustang. Every piece you see here, every part came directly from Ford Racing from their catalog. You can go to fordracingparts.com. You can put in the model year of your vehicle, and they list everything available for that car. It's that simple.
Coming up, the guys get to work installing the Ford racing components. Then we head out on the road to check out some amazing rides on the Hot Rod Power Tour. We're at Classic Recreations, where the team is currently using their Shelby expertise to create a modern-day monster out of a 2012 Mustang GT.
What we got done so far is the hood. The hood's been foamed, the hole's been cut in the hood. It's all been worked. It's in primer right now, waiting for the final block to make sure all the body lines and everything like that are straight. Once that's done, the hood will be ready to go to have the mold made. It took about 5 days to just do the hood. Late nights, early mornings, it's here.
With the hood and rockers nearly complete, Corey turns his attention to the rear spoiler to address some last-minute changes.
The original wing was maybe flat all the way across to here and out to about here, which is basically 2 inches further than what the factory wing was. Me and Jason got it pretty much done, looked at it, didn't like it, so we decided to raise it up again. Basically raised it up another 2.5 inches and brought it out another 2 inches, just to make it more of an exaggerated wing.
As the redesigned wing comes together, it's time to get the car back to the shop to install the new Ford racing components.
Today, we've got the car on a lift. We're going to remove the suspension on the car, put the new Ford Racing suspension underneath the vehicle, and get that entire part of this car done. I think that's a big step on this car. That's what gives it the low stance, the handling that it needs.
Disconnect the original brake line, take out the 2 main mounting bolts, and slides right on. Now we're just gonna install the new brake line. Came with our kit. All right, and that's it. 1 down, 3 to go. It's just that easy.
The factory sway bar is then removed to make way for the beefier Ford Racing replacement, which will provide more rigidity and improved handling.
The difference between the 2 sway bars, factory versus the Ford Performance.
The same process is then repeated at the rear of the car.
Here we're just prepping the sway bar for reinstallation. We're going to replace it with the Ford Motorsports factory replacement bar, as well as their control arms. They're a little stiffer than stock. They're made out of billet aluminum versus the round stock that the factory Ford Mustang came with. So it should stiffen it up quite a bit.
From the sway bars to the panhard bars, this Mustang is getting the full treatment.
This is the original panhard bar, and this is the new one from Ford Racing. The main difference is it's adjustable, so you can get all that extra adjustment you need in the rear end and everything. So that's about it.
When we come back, we'll take a break from the shop as Jason hits the road in one beautiful G.T.500CR, joining that rolling car show known as the Hot Rod Power Tour. We're back with more Hot Rod TV. As Classic Recreation's newest 2012 Villain.Mustang project makes its way to the finishing stages, Jason takes a break to check out one of the final stops on the Hot Rod Power Tour.
Today's a big day. It's the Hot Rod Power Tour. The guys are going to stay here, wrench on the Villain. I'm taking the G.T.500CR and go find some really cool Mustangs and look at the new MagnaFlow Revolver.
A lot of people don't know that Oklahoma's for real in this industry, and there is a lot of hot rods. You'll be surprised what you see whenever we're in Stillwater, that's for sure. There's going to be thousands of cars out there, and it's going to be insane.
Starting in Detroit, Michigan, and ending in Arlington, Texas, the 18th annual Hot Rod Power Tour is a 7-day rolling tribute to the performance car. And this year's third-to-last stop is right here in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Power Tour, huge. Our pre-registration this year was up almost 400 cars over what we've seen in the past, and that's carried through every single day when people have come in and registered at each stop, to the point where we've got 5,000 cars participating in Power Tour 2012.
Power Tour's awesome. Awesome. So we joined up at Madison, Illinois, and been riding the tour since then, and just been having a blast.
If you haven't experienced it, Power Tour is the way to go. Yeah. Any car show, any nothing, it's just 100% Power Tour.
I can't think of a better place to park than here at the MagnaFlow booth next to these new GT500s. I want to go see Richard with MagnaFlow, and I want to see what this Revolver thing's all about. Hey, Richard, is this the Revolver?
What's going on, Jason? Yes, indeed, this is the project. We're starting with pretty much a 1949 Chevy truck. It's a 3100, and we've got a lot of work going into it as far as building it up as a good street vehicle. One of the things that we're working on is going to be in the bed. We've got this mechanism, which we've called the Revolver mechanism, which we're taking 8 mufflers paired off in sets of 4, so we're going to have each of our 4 series hooked up to the truck. And what I mean by hooked up, it's going to look somewhat like a cement mixer, where you're going to have all 8 of these in a big radial splayed kind of orientation, but you'll be able to select which muffler you want to hear. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we deal with. I know we deal with a lot of builders like yourself. They're like, hey, what's this going to sound like?
Yeah.
And here we're going to be, fire it up, get in the truck, hear what it sounds like in the cab, stand outside, hear what it sounds like, slap a button, you're hearing the next exhaust system.
No doubt, the Revolver sounds like it's going to be an amazing ride, which is what the Power Tour is all about. And as Jason cruises around the show, it's just one incredible car after another.
It's not a Mustang, but this is not something you're going to see every day. This is a 2011 GTM. From my understanding, they have a Corvette chassis and a Corvette drivetrain as well. Really cool looking car. What's under the hood?
Little
fuel-injected 302 GT40 crate motor.
Wow, it's like the motors they ran in the Fox body Mustangs.
It's what I built it off of was a 93.
What year?
It's a 65 A-code, factory GT, power steering, disc brake, air car from the factory.
Looks like you've done some 17-inch wheels, is that right?
17 cores, yes, sir.
Yeah, well, that's a good-looking car. So you drove from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way to Oklahoma?
Through Detroit.
Wow.
Doing a long haul.
So you're the long hauler, huh?
Yes, sir.
Craig,
hey,
Jason, how you doing, man?
Good to see you.
You're here at the Power Tour again, and how many years is this now?
This is our third full run.
Wow.
And it's great that we're coming close to see you, too.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'm really excited. I saw you, and I just had to come over and say hi. So what year is this car, Craig?
It's a 67 coupe. It's got a little Shelby and Eleanor mix into it. I really like that style, and I like the way you build the classic recreations, so I did a little mix of all that.
Yeah, I see that. It looks really, really good. What drivetrain we running in this car?
It's got a 70 429 C6 automatic, 9-inch Lincoln Versailles and Granada spindles. And it's all wrapped up with a MagnaFlow exhaust system.
Coming up, we check out a few more stellar street machines here on the Hot Rod Power Tour.
I'm David Freiberger, editor-in-chief of Hot Rod Magazine, telling you to stay tuned for more Hot Rod TV.
Jason Engel from Classic Recreations is currently out of the shop, checking out some of the incredible rides on this year's 18th annual Hot Rod Power Tour.
We are here in Stillwater, Oklahoma on the Hot Rod Power Tour, day 4. We're having a great time.
This whole show has just been extremely big for me. You know, I'm from
Power Tour,
Oklahoma.
man, it doesn't get any bigger than this.
No.
We've had, I don't know how many thousands of cars going from show to show. And honestly, this is like my 8th tour. This has been the best weather I've seen, but the most number of people. It's been a fantastic time here.
The thing about Power Tour isn't just that it's big, it's that it's always bigger. I cannot believe in the face of the economy and especially in gas prices that we're seeing crowds and cars like 30% more than we had last year. It's unreal.
The quality of cars at this year's event is staggering. A lot of the entrants are basically show cars put through a 7-day road test. And Jason is on the hunt for the coolest of the cool.
You know, one thing I like about the Hot Rod Power Tour is the diversity. Here's a 1972 Mustang convertible. You think he's been on the Power Tour a few times? You have everything from wagons to Woodies to Corvettes to Camaros to street rods. This is something you're definitely not going to see every day. Look at this Buick. It's a rat rod. You look real closely, though, look at the engine. This is a Viper engine installed in this car. It's really, really cool. With the little small details that make it even more of a rat rod. You got the mop handle holding the hood up, the interior, the blankets for the seats. This is a super, super cool car.
Power Tour cars cover the spectrum, with a large portion leaning heavily to the side of nostalgia. Just take a look at these two classics.
You know, I'm a Ford guy, and of course a Mustang guy. I gotta find out who owns these Woodies. You guys own these cars?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
Great, I'm Jason with Classic Recreations.
Hi, Jason.
Hey, Jason, what's happening? Corey.
Nice to meet you. So these are your Woody cars?
They are.
Tell me about them, man. What year is this?
This is the big brother. This is the 49. We just brought it out of a barn after 43 years. Found it on Craigslist in Southern Illinois. And just decided to get it running. And
tell me about the drivetrain, man. What kind of motor you got in this one?
You know, we took a 302 out of a 71 Bronco and rebuilt it, put an AOD out of an 84 Crown Victoria, and a Ford 9-inch out of a 59 Ranchero.
Okay, just like old times, right?
Yeah.
So this one's the flathead V8?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I take a look at it?
Sure, let's check it out.
You know, it surprises me that, you know, someone would go in and do this to keep the nostalgia of this car, man. I think that's just, that's the way to go. You're not going to see these every day for sure.
With over 5,000 cars to look at, it's a little overwhelming to try to take it all in. But one thing is for sure, at this year's Power Tour, there is no shortage of cool.
1972 Mach 1 It's got a 351 Cleveland 4-barrel engine in it. It's backed by a FMX transmission. It's got an open 275 on the rear end. I built it for driving, cruising, getting out on the highway, and being able to keep up with the modern cars. I'm running headers through a 2.5-inch stainless steel exhaust, the MagnaFlow mufflers in the back. Sounds good.
It says muscle. That's good stuff.
And as Jason scours the show, he comes across one very radical find.
Look what I just found, a Mustang 2. This car was actually made by Ford Motor Company when the gas prices were so high. They built a smaller car for a better economy. Yet people souped them up, they added headers, they did things to make the cars even faster. These are small block V8s. This car, it happens to be a long haul gang car. This car's from Iowa, it's a long drive in this car.
As the day comes to a close here in Stillwater, Jason takes a moment to notice the amount of rides here bearing the Shelby name. It's a humbling affirmation, knowing that Classic Recreations is doing its small part to continue the legacy of the late, great Carroll Shelby.
You know, I do feel like by building these GT500CRs, getting them out to the world, I am continuing a legacy, his name, and representing it the best I can.
As the Power Tour ramps up to get back on the road, Jason heads back to the shop to continue work on the Villain project.